Hello, Ready Campers, and welcome to Unit 5 or Search and Rescue. My name is Tom Ethan, and today I'm going to be talking about search and rescue and how we can implement search and rescue techniques in buildings and areas that need to be searched in case of an emergency. Our unit objectives will be identifying size-up requirements for a potential search and rescue situation. We're going to describe the most common techniques for search in a structure, use safe techniques for removing the debris, and describe ways to protect rescuers during search and rescue. Because as you'll see throughout this entire presentation, making sure that you and as the rescuer stay safe so you're able to help other people. So the goals of search and rescue is you want to rescue the greatest number of people in the shortest amount of time. And you can do that pretty much by your voice. It's the greatest tool that you're going to have. If you walk into a room and you ask anybody if they can hear you, you start walking towards your voice. It's called the triage, as far as triage and patients. John touched on this a couple weeks ago. And so triage and patients, so you're rescuing the greatest number of people in the shortest amount of time. And again, if they can move themselves, it's saving you a lot of manpower trying to go in there and get somebody out. And you also want to rescue the lightly trapped victims first. Kind of makes sense. Again, if we're trying to rescue the greatest number of people in the shortest amount of time, the lightly rescued people that are trapped, you want to get those people out first, because it might just take one, maybe two people to get them out, where someone that is heavily trapped, they have a bunch of things on top of them, or in an area that needs more resources or people, it's going to use up more people. So we're just using, I don't want to say wasting time, but you're putting a lot of resources on one patient when you have someone that just needs a bookcase removed from their leg. So based on your size up, if you do make a decision to attempt the rescue, the important things to remember is don't become a victim yourself, or don't add more victims to the emergency. Always ask yourself, is there any immediate danger? Anything else that might be pending that could cause somebody else to get hurt? How long will it be before the fire and EMS and law enforcement arrive on scene? That's very important. You got to figure out how long you're going to be taking care of these people before you have more people with that are more trained and more resources to help take care of the people. And again, you want to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people, and again in the shortest amount of time. So of course we have safety considerations, and of course make your personal and rescuer safety your primary concern. You and your buddy have to be safe in order to help other people out. Be alert for any other types of hazards. Use safety equipment, your helmets, your goggles, your vest, your gloves. If you have those and you're equipped with those, make sure that you use everything to make sure that you're protected. And the biggest thing is rotate your teams. Here on the fire service, we have to make sure that we rotate our teams out frequently, because obviously fighting fires is very, very tiring. Any job that we do, depend upon the weather, depend upon a lot of different things, a lot of factors go into it, the temperature of the day, the turnout gear that the people are wearing, they're gonna get tired. So make sure that you have enough people on scene to help, and if you do, rotate your teams out. If they're doing the search and rescue, then switch them into something that's not as strenuous like triaging, and then get those other people into doing search and rescue, so that you always have fresh people, because usually when people start to get tired, they start to make mistakes. So the search and rescue operations involves a size up, and you remember size up from our fire safety unit. In the search and rescue, it changes just a bit, and we'll talk about that. So a search involves locating injured and trapped people, documenting their location, and then the rescue involves procedures and methods to remove the trapped person. So we're going to be talking a little bit about blanket drags and carries, or for this year, I've attached some videos that you guys can watch at the end to move people from an area that could be potentially dangerous to the triage area. So here's the size up. This should look familiar. We talked about this when we're doing fire safety. So again, gather the facts, assess the damage, consider the probability, assess your own situation, establish your priorities. Again, the tough one, make decisions, develop your action plans, take action, and evaluate your progress to make sure that you're doing good. Where it's going to change is assess the damage, and we'll talk about that next. So step 2, assess and communicate the damage. Now the CERT mission changes if the damage is light, moderate, or the damage is heavy. Obviously, if you have light damage, that's just like walking into a room and if a tornado went through and just some things are kind of tipped over, not that big of a deal. Damage is moderate. Maybe some of the walls have shifted, or a couple of things have the windows have been broken. That would be considered a more moderate damage to the structure. A heavy damage would be if you had a collapse. So if the main structures in the building were no longer standing, that is considered heavy damage, and obviously that is not a safe place to be. So consider the type and age of the building that you're going into, and never enter a structure that has heavy damage. The training that you guys are going to receive is not going to prepare you to take on that type of an emergency. So based on your size up, you decide to do a search. Some of the things that you want to think about is, what do you have as far as materials? What do you need to help get the job done safely? And what are your limitations? Limitations during an emergency, they're endless. The door that once was used to separate two rooms can now be used as a backboard. You can use anything that you want to help the situation, so the limitations are endless. And of course we had to follow rules, but during an emergency, sometimes you have to use things that aren't made to be used for something else, as long as you do it safely. So we will go over different types of search methods. The first one is you want to call out to those who may need help. Again, like I said before, your voice is probably going to be the most powerful thing. If you can yell for someone, have them respond back to you, it's obviously going to be a very quick way to find if someone needs help. Use a planned search pattern. I've got a video that illustrates this very well. A planned search pattern would be whether you make a right-handed search or a left-handed search, and in the video they'll go over that. You want to stop frequently, and you want to listen. Sometimes if people can't move, or if they're stuck, what they'll do is after a while they get tired of screaming, they'll start tapping on stuff. They'll grab a rock or they'll grab something and just start banging on the wall, start banging on the pipes. So if you stop every once in a while and you listen, you might be able to hear that someone is trying to get your attention. You want to mark search areas and document the results. We'll go over that in just a second. The picture down here shows 3 flashlights, and basically that's what is triangulate. So that means if you are in different areas of a room and you want to, you have flashlights in different areas of the room, you can shine all the lights to one area, and you're going to kind of triangulate or get a better picture of what is in the room because you have light coming from all sides. And the last one is you want to report your results. Anything that you find inside the room, you want to make sure it's reported so that other rescuers will see what was found in the room. So here are a couple of examples for documentation. Once a crew is assigned to do a search of a building, one of the things that they can do is they can put a large X on the outside of the building, either on the door or near the door. And what that'll do is it'll let the other rescuers know that there's somebody in there doing a search. So once they leave that particular area, then what they do is they fill in the information. So they'll put down the agency doing the search, they'll put the date and the time of the search, they'll put the degree of the search, whether it was the first time the house was searched, the second time, third time the house was searched, and any important information, whether they found someone in there or no one was found in the house. Any important information will be posted on the right side of the X there. And again, that is it indicates that the rescuer location, and it provides, or it prevents, duplicate effort of another rescue team going to search that house, because I can see by the large X that it's already been completed. And then on the right side of that, there is just a simple post-incident status, and you can go through and fill out on a piece of paper the houses that were searched. Obviously, using a single piece of paper was going to be a little bit harder because you're the one that has a piece of paper and not everybody else. So it would have to be someone really in charge of the search and rescue team, sending the search and rescue teams out to houses that have not been searched. So conducting a search and rescue operation, you want to start by employing techniques based on a size up. Again, that size up is very important to make sure that you know that you're sending the crews in to do an area or to search an area that needs to be searched. Locating any trapped, injured victims. So if there is somebody inside there, you want to go ahead and move those people to the appropriate triage area so that they can get taken care of. So that's basically what you're doing in a search and rescue operation. So the next couple of slides are going to show you different types of building collapses. And this one here shows a pancake collapse. And the pancake collapse, you can see where it says void on the screen. Those are places that you'd want to search to see if you have anybody inside there, because obviously those voids are where you're going to be able to find people that are trapped. And you can see here that this is called a lean-to collapse. The void is directly underneath, and this just has one area that needs to be searched in order to try to find somebody. This would be typical if like the first floor of the building fell into the basement, and it's still kind of hinged on one side. This type of collapse is known as a V collapse, and you can see that once it would be a V collapse is pretty typical when you have like the center support of a floor gives out, and you can see that it remains attached to the outside walls, and then it falls down into the center, creating a V. The voids on either side of them would be the likelihood of trying to find somebody that might be inside. While doing your search and rescue operations, you also want to make sure that you look for individual voids. An individual void is some place where a kid or a person might go to feel safe. The picture shown is a person that hid underneath a desk in a possible earthquake, tornado. They went underneath something that was heavy to help protect them. So under a desk would be a good place to look, inside of a bathtub, closets, small rooms, things like that. Those are places where people can hide, and hopefully they can survive whatever the emergency is. Conducting the rescue operations. Now remember from the previous slide, rescue was defined as once you've located somebody, now you want to rescue them. You want to get them out of the area and get them to the appropriate area to make sure that they're taken care of. So the primary functions are creating a safe rescue environment by lifting objects out of the way, using tools to remove objects to make sure that you don't hurt yourself or anybody else, and then remove debris so that the rescuers have a good clean area to help rescue people and get them to their training area or triage area. You want to triage or stabilize patients who are injured. So again, triaging them as you find them, and then stabilize them as far as like John talked about, putting slings and bandages on people that are injured, and then removing the injured to the treatment area. So if you find someone inside of an area that was damaged by a hurricane or a tornado or something, you need to rescue them, and then you want to get them out to the treatment area. And lifts and drags, basically this, if we were in person, would be a group activity. However, I did find some interesting videos that depicts how to do blanket drags and carries, and they are listed for you guys to go ahead and watch, so you guys get a good understanding of what it means to pick somebody up and move them that might be injured. So in review, we want to maintain rescuer safety. Like I've been saying throughout this whole presentation, you got to make sure that you're safe, your rescuers are safe, the team is safe, in order to make sure that you can help other people that might be injured. Triage in lightly and moderate damaged buildings. Again, if it's heavy damage, you don't want to go into it. And evacuate people quickly from a moderately damaged building to minimize any type of injury. And again, you're going to do that by using different types of blanket drags and carries, which you guys can watch the videos on. If you have any questions on anything that you've seen, you can always reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you. Thanks.